Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide, with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the Allies, Arrowhead Allies.
It is officially draft week in Kansas City. Welcome to Arrowhead Allies, and we are joined by a very special guest. You see him down there in the lower right-hand corner looking all dapper and wonderful. It is media legend here in Kansas City, Frank Boal, joining us. Frank, how you doing, my friend?
You know, guys, I'm doing great. I really appreciate the invite. Arrowhead Allies, this is great for me. I think I'm sitting too far away from the camera, though. Am I? You guys are like all front and center, looking beautiful. I'm sitting back here trying to hide my age spots. You know, it's good. It's all right. Yeah. Okay.
You need to move away from the camera.
You're well lit, and your wife did a great job of getting you all
Yes, she did.
We need to get you like a background. We need to get you some Chief stuff, something back there aside from your wicker art piece, but that is beautiful.
You like that? That's pretty good wicker art piece, right? I like that. Yeah.
Frank's done a lot of shopping since retirement, so that's one of his pieces.
Yeah, one piece of wicker. You got it.
Hey, Frank, you're a legend. I grew up with you myself. I graduated high school at Truman High School in 1988 with Todd Lebo. And when I walked off the stage and got my diploma, I spent the next 5 years trying to make it in the rock and roll business before I met my wife at Arrowhead and got married. Todd Lebo walked off the stage after he got his diploma and went to the University of Oklahoma and became somebody. And now he, along with Chad Boger, run 810 WHB. You have done an excellent job since you stepped away from NBC 41 in 2017. And we love hearing you. You're in good hands at WHB on 810, and love hearing it.
Yeah, I've been very blessed. And to have a guy like Todd Lebo really helped me out. I mean, you knew Todd. I'm sure he graduated near the top of his class at Truman. One of the smartest guys I've ever met. Doesn't forget anything, and really kept me on the straight and narrow for a long time. If it wasn't for guys like Todd, I'd have never made it in this business. I'll guarantee you that much.
Hey, Frank, big fan like the other guys, but Shaggy brought up Channel 41. I remember you at Channel 4. Which one did you like better? Which one did you like better?
Man. Well, I'll tell you what. I had when my career started, I was at Channel 4. I came down here from Green Bay, Wisconsin, believe it or not. And I was at Channel 4. In fact, I had two job offers at the time, one from a station in St. Louis and one from Kansas City. But the station in St. Louis said, we've just been bought, so we're on a 90-day hiring freeze. Oh. So as soon as the 90 days are up, you're going to be our sports director over at the station. And my news director at Channel 4, Mike McDonald, came. He says, are you sure about that? And I said, that's a good point. I'm not really sure. So I took the job at Channel 4 and have never looked back. Absolutely no regrets. It was wonderful. I was there for a long period of time until 2009. And then my good buddy, and I love Channel 4, had a great time there. That's where my career got started here. 4 of my 5 kids were born here in Kansas City. So I had one kid born in California, and if you knew him, you could tell. Okay. So the deal is, so then when Channel 4 basically let me go, it was right after the 2008 downturn of the economy, and they were getting rid of all the older guys, when they dropped that brown envelope on my desk and said, hey, might be a good idea if you take this because when your contract's up, we're not sure we're going to renew you. So basically they're firing you at that point. Just a few months later, my good buddy over at Channel 41, Jack Harry, gave me a call. Basically, I told him he saved my life. I went over there and worked weekends. I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Jack. And yeah, there's oh God, look at that picture. Oh, the one. Oh my gosh, that is from Fort Myers, Florida. The one on the right. Okay, that's some classic coverage of the Kansas City Royals at that point. But that is Jack Carey and myself when I had hair. And the deal was, Jack came to me and said, "Look, come on over Sunday nights during football season and we'll talk about the Chiefs." I said, fine. Then that morphed into working all weekend and working Sunday nights with Jack. And then Jack retired and I became the sports director over at 41 to make a long story much longer. But we started we started the over there with on the weekends or on Sunday nights doing our little roundtable discussion like you guys have here. That worked just terrifically. And so everything has been great for me here in KC. I just love this town. And this will come out a little bit later, but my wife came up with a saying that we've heard from all of our friends, all the people I've interviewed, all of the old timers here in Kansas City or whatever. We all ask them, we say, well, why did you stick around? You could have lived anywhere else in the world or in the country or whatever. And every one of them say there's just something about Kansas City. And coming up here, there'll be a little bit of news coming out about that situation, and we'll let you know what's happening.
Well, Kansas City indeed is going to be playing host to quite a major event here, Frank. Let's just say we've come quite a long ways since the days of me going to the Chiefs draft party at the Arrowhead Club. Let's just say there was about 200 people at the Arrowhead Club would go and watch. This was the one where we drafted Tony Gonzalez in 97. So to think about the draft actually coming to Kansas City, of course, back then it was in New York City. You've covered these events before, Frank, to see what this is going to be in Kansas City. Just kind of talk about the fervor and the excitement. I mean, 300,000 people, they're estimating over $100 million in economic impact. I'm going to give most of that credit to Motley Crue, my favorite band of all time. This is going to be fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. I think you ought to give a lot of the credit to Kathy Nelson and the Kansas City Sports Commission. They have been absolutely incredible on everything they do. Kathy will tell you a story about me, but I'll save that for a minute. But Kansas City is really right in the middle of the sports map right now. We have we have two-time Super Bowl champion here in Kansas City. And in the last several years, we've got, Patrick Mahomes here, and you got Travis Kelce on Saturday Night Live. You have all that happening. Then now we have the draft right after they're coming off a Super Bowl. That's incredible. And then, of course, they're coming up. The KC Current will have the first women's only sporting venue in the entire world. Okay, when that gets completed. And then in 2026, we'll have the World Cup here in Kansas City, which will be incredible as well. So we are at the epicenter of sports right now. So, and you guys are right in the middle of it, but they're going to put on a show this coming weekend, starting Thursday. And of course, a lot of the guys are in town already. I think there's going to be 18 of those players who believe they're going to get taken in the first round. I think it's the smallest group of first round prospects ever, because I think nobody wants to sit around that green room and the Chiefs pick at 31 or wherever they pick, or the last team picks that day and they haven't been picked. I think you get a lot of those guys who are at the bottom end of the first round. They go, I'm not going to take a chance doing that. I think I'll stay home.
Okay.
Well, Frank.
Hey, Frank. Go ahead, Shaggy.
Go ahead, Brian. I'll follow you.
I was just going to ask Frank if you're Brett Veach and you're sitting there with the 31st pick and you look. You got a drunken Kansas City in front of you, all right?
No, there won't be any drinking going on down there. Come on.
Oh, really? So you have a drunken and high Kansas City in front of you because marijuana's been passed.
Yeah, weed's legal. Here we go.
But
I'm back in the 60s.
Right. But the Dolphins, they don't have many picks. The Rams, they don't have many picks. They need somebody good. They need somebody good right now. They come to you with a offer you cannot refuse at 31. All right, a haul for that 31st pick because they need whoever's there available. Do you give that pick up and piss off the fans that have been waiting all day to hear the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs pick them?
Okay, here's the deal. Okay, you're Brett Veach. All right, and we've already heard the owner, Clark Hunt, refer to it a few times saying, he better not give up that pick or whatever. I'm going to tell you something. Do we like Super Bowl celebrations more than the NFL draft, or do we like the NFL draft more than we like Super Bowl celebrations? So Brett Veach is going to do whatever is best for this team to hand Clark another Lombardi. Well, number one, Lamar Hunt trophy again, and then hand him the Lombardi trophy. So, everybody talks about that. I think a lot of people like more picks because this draft doesn't look so dynamic. Like there aren't that many great players there. But I would not be surprised if they go the opposite way. If they trade up and try, if somebody slides down that list that they've really had their eyes on, I wouldn't be surprised if they traded up. I think Seren Petro was talking about it today. I think they're talking about the Baltimore Ravens are, rattling the chains a little bit. Like they'd like to get out of that pick and move down a little bit and get some more picks. And maybe the Chiefs could trade. Baltimore is picking at 22. And if they traded to get down there to get somebody, the Chiefs would swap picks, of course, with the Ravens. And then I think they'd have to give up the 95th and the 122nd pick. Yeah. So, you really, in my way of thinking, you really better love that guy up there. And number two is, if you do keep all your picks, you probably won't be able to, keep them all anyway, because you have so many guys that sign on that rookie contract. Chiefs don't have a whole lot of money left under the cap. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And so
really, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
So Frank, so we talked about that, the Chiefs possibly trading the pick out. What if the Chiefs do trade up and they take another running back? You hearing the
no.
What's your thought?
No running back.
Robinson, Jamar Gibbs.
No, well, I would not take Gibbs. Okay, I would not trade up to get Gibbs. If Bijan Robinson falls to you somehow, and he's not going to be around at 31, but if he falls to you somehow, if he's still sitting there at 31, I think he'd be probably the number one guy on the Chiefs board at that point. But anybody else, no. They've had the issues with, Clyde Edwards-Helaire picking running backs back 20 years ago was the big thing to do. Okay. Yeah, whatever. But yeah.
My man.
But picking running back in the first round is no bueno. No way.
Like Frank, a quick throwback. I'm digging this draft breakdown, but as a fan of yours, as somebody who's watched you since you took over for Steve Oakley when you came on with Denny Treese and Gordon Docking, throughout.
Gosh, you do go back.
Yeah, like I said, I graduated with Todd Lebo, so we're old. So, I remember when Joe Montana came to Kansas City. You did an hour-long special on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, breaking down that arrival. You were the Ian Rappaport, and you were the main guy when it came to the Chiefs. So much so that when free agents came to visit this town, you would visit them at the airport while they're picking up luggage. I remember when Heath Schuler came here 26 years ago, when Heath Schuler came here with Tom Condon, as well as Brett Perryman, they're getting their luggage off the luggage rack at KCI, and you're there asking them, hey, you're here to visit Kansas City. Do you miss doing that? I mean, that's straight to, that's exactly what Chiefs fans look for. Keep in mind, this is before Twitter and websites. You're at the airport greeting Brett Perryman, Heath Schuler, and as they come in to visit. Do you miss doing that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, sure. And remember, the best thing about Tom Condon was he's a former Chief.
Yeah.
So I knew Tom from his playing days, and then he became the agent and all the guys. In fact, I remember he came in. He brought Gene Upshaw in one week, right? And they were talking about the NFLPA and all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Tom gave me a call. He said, "Hey, I'm going to be eating down here at the I think they were at the not the Plaza 3. It wasn't Houlihan's. What was the other? My mind's gone. Pardon me? No, it wasn't Houston's. It was forget it. It was one of the steakhouses on the Plaza. He said, "We're going to be down here. Come on down." And I said, "Man, that's great." And I didn't know he wasn't going to call anybody else. So I show up. I got my camera guy. We do an interview about what they're going to do with the NFLPA and some of the demands they're going to make to the NFL owners to start to change things to help, especially back in those days, the retired players like Condon and Upshaw were, and how they were going to go about it. And we basically broke that story. But it's all about. I'm not sitting there blowing my own horn. Just it was all about relationships. It was all about. People could tell you things back then, and you knew what you could report and what you really couldn't report, or what you could put their name on and what you could say, "Hey, a source told me that this happened or that happened," and they learned to trust you that way. It were the people back then that they wanted to get that story out, and they just threw people under the bus all the time and wondered why no one would ever give them a second interview or tell them anything that was, maybe off the record that you could use as you were trying to determine something a story you were going to put out there. So that was the difference. And there was no Twitter. And I'll tell you right now, I get a lot of my information off of Twitter. I mean, I think we all do. But that prevents us from going back and doing a lot of the research ourselves and digging it for ourselves as well. But you don't have the access either, like we had to the players back then. You don't have that. I say this all the time. COVID was the greatest thing that ever happened to the NFL and the players, because they know, he's coming out. He's going to do a Zoom call at 10 o'clock, and you can ask him a couple questions, and then we're gone. He's off, and next guy's sitting in there, and you really don't get to know them. They don't know you. Yep. Therefore, they don't know if they can trust you or not. So it's a totally different world now. Totally different.
You did a great job covering it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for remembering.
Hey, Frank, I got a Kansas City nerd question for you. I'm just,
Oh boy.
I to know. September of '94. You guys at Channel. Hello, we good? You guys at Channel 4 were transitioning from NBC
to Fox.
To Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, he has cut out. Oh, there it is.
I've always wanted to know how that transition was like, just as a lifelong Kansas Citian.
For me, because I'd been there then for 13 years, okay, and we were the NBC affiliate. And we had great relationships with all the NBC affiliates in the country. George Michael's Sports Machine. Yes. I don't know if you remember that or not. George was great. Right. Every Sunday night. And then we did the Kansas City Sports Machine. I had to ask George, "Hey, listen, can we say Kansas City Sports Machine? Because he says, "Hey, you're the first affiliate in the country." I said, "Absolutely. Come on down to DC. I'll show you what we do here. We'll do a couple promos." He's the greatest guy going. God bless him. But we had all those relationships with all those affiliates and all those sports directors. And then all of a sudden, we're no longer NBC. We're also just on the verge of taking over for Channel 9 as the number one station in the market. And Channel 9 was a beast. All right. They basically still are. But the deal was, we're just about, Phil Witt was the anchor, and Dan Henry was doing weather, and I was doing sports. Cynthia Smith was there. And, we really had a great team, and they hit us and they nail us with, "You're being sold to Rupert Murdoch and Fox News." I went, "Oh my God." And we had no idea who Rupert Murdoch was. We didn't know where he was from. We didn't know what the deal was. And that really hurt us for a long, long period of time to try then regain that audience. Then they couldn't find us. They're going, "What time are you doing news?" And, "Oh, you don't have the NBC Nightly News. What do you guys have now?" So it was a bad transition. It was a tough thing to go through. Really tough.
Wow. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it was hard.
I'm accused of living in the past. I know we got Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey and Super Bowls and AFC championship games at home. But I got my start as a Chiefs fan in the 90s. Me and Clint, we made a film for Marty Schottenheimer, getting several of his former players to kind of wish him well, talk about memories. Back in kind of the summer of 2018, we went to show him the film, visit him, spend some time with him and his family down North Carolina. Do you feel like Marty Schottenheimer is deserving of the Hall of Fame? And just, do you have any great Marty stories as well?
Yeah, I do. I think he and Carl Peterson turned this entire franchise back around after they had all the success in the 60s, in the late 60s, and then they fell apart until 1989 when Marty and Carl showed up and turned everything around. And the one thing you're going to have to remember here, and I know we all love the tailgating, right? Well, that idea was Tim Connolly's. I don't know if you remember Tim's name or not. That was Tim Connolly. He was one of the assistant guys out there. He was on the he was on the umbrella of under Lamar Hunt at that time and stuff. But he was like, he did season ticket sales and group sales or whatever. It was his idea to let these big corporate sponsors that were Chief sponsors to go out there and put up a tent and go out in the back parking lot, have the tent, and cater your own food, bring your own booze, and have fun or whatever. And we'll take the tent down and put it back up for you every Sunday, but you're in charge of it from that point on. And that was the birth of tailgating in Kansas City. That was it when they got here. So they revived the whole franchise. And I think Marty won enough. I just think he just couldn't get over the hump. And I think part of the problem was he worked his guys so hard. You'll talk to all the guys he played for. He worked them so hard in preseason practice and having 3 practices a day during, up in River Falls and doing all that. And then all of a sudden still hitting on Wednesdays and Thursdays before Sunday's games. And you know how tough they were and how good they were. But by the time they got to the playoffs, those guys were worn out. They were just worn out. And the other thing they never did, they never really invested in a young quarterback, a young kid to come in and play quarterback and develop him. They were all, and even Carl Peterson will say to this day, that was the biggest mistake he ever made, was not bringing in a young quarterback to play quarterback for this team. So I think that's basically it. I think that was the only thing that really prevented Marty from getting over the hump. But he was a great guy. I got along great with Marty. We were in Buffalo before the AFC Championship game. We're sitting in the hotel lobby. We're doing a live show. And Marty and Carl are coming back from dinner. We're on the air, and I'm sitting there, and I see them out of the corner of my eye. They had to walk sort of behind us. And, I mean, this is the day before the game. This is Saturday night, right? And I went, "Hey, Coach." He looked at me. I said, "Got a minute?" Said, "Sure." Came up, sat down. We did about 15 minutes with Marty. And, that was the kind of guy he was. That's the kind of relationship we had with him. And I love him. He was a great guy and just super guy.
100%.
Well, Frank, not only does that era ring true for a lot of us and kind of our start as Chiefs fans, but that goes for the media too. And Shane alluded to it and, goes back even further than us. But for me, guys like yourself, Jack Harry, people, that wrote for the Kansas City Star, the Joe Posnanskis and Jason Whitlocks, you guys were rock stars to me. It's like, I looked at you guys get to talk to these legends of the game for a living. I couldn't believe that was an option in life. Like Keith Jackson calling college football games from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. That stuff stuck true to me. My question is, sports media has changed so much now, Frank. Where are the rock stars? Like, is Pat McAfee and Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports? Is that who we look up to now? I think it's a lost art, especially here at the local level.
Wait. Here's the deal. Just look inward. I'm talking to them. Okay, here we are.
Well,
here we are. We're all together.
Yeah,
here we are. Here's you guys. You guys are the rock stars now. And I'll tell you what, the reason that is because of the no access for local guys. Okay, they really can't get that status anymore. And I talk to all the local guys still. whenever I see them, I say, hey, how's it going? Whatever. They say, it's just no fun anymore. It's just not any fun anymore. And we had so much fun. That picture of Jack, Harry, and I in Fort Myers, Florida, we'd go down there. This is before, whatever. We had the one on the right there. We had satellite truck, okay? And they never sent the satellite truck down there until after the Royals won the World Series. This was 1984, before the season in 1984. Jack and I would go, and we'd bring about 5 or 6 shirts with us, okay? And we'd go to practice, and we'd put a shirt on, and then we'd do an interview with George Brett or whatever, change the shirt, do an interview with Willie Wilson, change the shirt, do an interview with Frank White, change the shirt, do an interview with Brian McRae or Al McRae. And, we had packages for the entire week. All right. So we'd stash them away. We'd tell our news director, oh, we're killing ourselves down here. 20 minutes after you saw that thing, we're out on a golf course, or we're body surfing in the Gulf of Mexico, one or the other. It was a totally different world. Totally different world.
It was Frank, great. Nobody knows Kansas City sports fans quite like you. I think like if we've been discussing, you're probably, maybe on a Mount Rushmore of Kansas City sportscasters, most definitely.
Stop.
For real. Come on, man.
Hey, listen. I'll come back. I promise. Stop.
It's real. No, we grew up watching you, so we got to give you your flowers, man. But with that being said, you saw the Kings in Kansas City at one time.
Oh yeah.
So it's a new day. And I think that with the draft, with the World Cup, with the airport, a lot of other things being going on, Kansas City has the infrastructure now, I think, to support things. And multiple things at a time. I know Seattle and Vegas are probably at the top of the list for the NBA, but it's Kansas City in that circle. Now that seeing that we can support the draft, we got Super Bowls. Do you see it possible?
Anything's possible. I would say if the T-Mobile Center, now it's not Sprint Center anymore, but the T-Mobile Center. Here's the first problem. T-Mobile Center is extremely profitable. They have stuff in there. Yes, concerts and everything else that they do. Okay, so it's extremely profitable for T-Mobile Center right now to go without a professional sports team. Now, when they built the Sprint Center, the Anschutz Sports Committee, they were the people that owned it, kept promising or kept, sort of throwing us a little bit of a lifeline. Yeah, sure. We'll consider you, whatever. It has never happened. I don't see it happening in the near future. If it does happen, I think the price point of our area of the country with about 2 million people in our metro, okay, in the whole ADI here, the area of dominant influence, they called it back in the day. We have about 2 million people here. The price point, if you look at tickets, season tickets, great up against the glass tickets, NHL, the best price point is the NHL for Kansas City. That's a better price point than the NBA. The NBA is too expensive, I think they believe, for this market. They think they could probably handle an NHL team, but you have to remember, I know the Royals are terrible right now, okay? So they're not drawing flies, all right? Chiefs are packing it every Sunday or whatever, and everything they do is magic right now, okay? You still have, and Sporting's not doing very well, but they really have a loyal following of people. They pack their stadium every weekend. So now you got KC Current coming on the women's soccer team. I know that's not going to draw a whole lot of people, but it does draw fans into a sporting arena, especially with kids. You have a bunch of daughters or whatever, they'd love to go see KC Current. You have a bunch of soccer players that they want to go see the MLS in soccer. Football, of course, we've got the Chiefs. Baseball, you can always get a seat for the Royals. The problem is the NHL, playing their 82 games a year and they're always looking to expand. They're always talking about it. And Kansas City is always on their list. They just haven't pulled the trigger yet on that. So what to see. But I think if they get anything, I don't see it happening right now, is I think they would get an NHL team before they got an NBA team. Exactly what you said. Seattle, way bigger market than ours. Las Vegas, more money than God. Doesn't matter how many people they have. It's just one of those things. So it's just where we are.
Absolutely. Frank, we got to go to a question here in the comments. I apologize if I mess up these names. Frank, an indica or sativa guy? Did I get that right at all?
Frank, a what?
Indica or sativa guy?
What?
You've lost me in translation. I have no idea what that means.
He's laughing.
That's for those the viewer that likes to stay more elevated than everyone else.
Oh,
those two of their.
Oh my gosh! No. Listen. I'm going to tell you something. This will be good.
You were sponsored by CBD American Shaman at one point. So
exactly. I still am, and I still use the product. Okay. I don't get into the Delta 8 or Delta 9, right? But let's go back to. I went to high school and college in the 60s. I graduated from college at Villanova in 1969. So I went right through that entire period of time. The only reason I didn't know what you were talking about, and the only thing that sort of I won't say saved me, but the deal that I was an athlete at that time, and if we had gotten caught doing anything like that, it was automatic. You're off the team. You're gone. Your scholarship's gone, whatever. That's the only thing that saved me. Now, I will say, after I graduated, okay, sometimes I was fed some strange cookies and there was some fudge and there was a little of that, but I didn't know. Somebody slipped me a Mickey. That's all I'm going to say.
Frank, you're going to be able to make up for it this weekend because we anticipate that on Friday night you will be down there front row for Motley Crue with some sativa in hand, headbanging in the front row, mosh pitting the Motley Crue.
I just saw somebody picks me up and passes me down to the front. Let's go, baby. Come on.
Frank, it is going to be a sight to behold this weekend. I always consider it just an extension of the Super Bowl parade. We're going to do it all over again and have the draft here this weekend in Kansas City. So we can't wait for that. Frank, we can't thank you enough for your time. We've got to do this again, especially as the draws more near. We would just love to make it regular. We'll even get you like a mic and even a cool background. We could really do you pretty well, Frank. Get
dress up that wicker a little bit.
Get him a shirt. Get him an Ally shirt.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Whatever you guys need, you just let me know, okay? I'll be glad to come on anytime. And you, please, just don't talk about Frank Boal in those glowing terms, because I know Frank Boal, and that ain't him, okay?
Frank, let's tell you that Frank Boal is part of Crunch Time on 810 WHB with Tim Grunhard, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Make sure that you tune in every Thursday night on Sports Radio.
Not this week. Not this week. Draft this week. This week's the only week.
Well, yes.
That's why we got you here. That way people can get
I know that.
They're going to miss them on Thursday. They got to catch
You're going to miss me on Thursday. You got it, guys. You got it.
And Frank, are you going to be at the draft at all?
Yeah, I will be down there. We got certain 810 has an area somewhere down there. I don't know. It's going to be an absolute zoo. And of course, I have to go to I have to go to Uncle Cracker, CeeLo Green, and Blaine Howard at the CBD American Shaman deal at Voodoo Lounge on Saturday night. Oh, wow. So I'll probably what is it? Endicott and what's the other stuff?
Indigo. Yeah.
There'll be plenty of that there, I'll guarantee you.
Wow.
Just call it a loud pack. We just keep it like that.
You got it right. That's it.
Thank you so much, Frank. We'll catch up soon, my friend.
Hey, anytime, guys. And continued good luck.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Man, that was really cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
What a treat. What a treat.
That's what we do here on Arrowhead Allies.
Legend, man.
We bring the goods for your sake, we bring it out here. Frank Boal joining us, and it's great to be around friends. It's great to be around allies, especially during this week. Like I said, guys, I used to go to the Chiefs draft party at the Arrowhead Club when there'd be like 100 people. Mitch Holtis was there. One year they had to kick us out, the year we drafted Larry Johnson, because we traded back, and there was a wedding going to be in there. They had to kick us out of the Arrowhead Club. That's how much things have how far things have come here in Kansas City. We're going to be going to Uptown here this week. A little different.
Wow.
And I hated that pick. I wanted Boss Bailey, by the way, but I liked Larry.
Oh, well, thank God you're not the GM.
We could have Troy Polamalu.
Oh, thank God I'm not the GM. Yeah, but we're talking about Larry Johnson. He had to put the diapers on. Dick Vermeil, it wasn't going well at first. And Boss Bailey, we needed a linebacker. We needed defense. Dick Vermeil's told us himself he didn't pay a damn lick of attention to the defense. So maybe I would have been a good GM in that sense, just that once.
You know what?
We'd have DK
I have
Metcalf
a funny
right
story
now.
before I depart.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So my brother, who's like 4 or 5 years younger than me, he was like in the 8th grade or something when Larry Johnson was drafted, and he did this football camp. And my brother was in the camp, and Larry Johnson told the boys in the camp, yeah, I'm better than both of them. Speaking of Derek Blaylock,
yep.
Yeah, he was 23, right?
Stephen F.
Blaylock. And Priest Holmes. And well, I'll be damned. Later on that 2004 season, well, I'm not sitting here saying that Larry Johnson was better than Priest Holmes. I'm not saying that at all. But I will say that Larry Johnson was not a terrible pick at all.
No.
At number 27 in 2003.
Would he be on your Mount Rushmore of Chiefs running backs, Brian?
Absolutely not. Let me think about that. That could be my departing thing. Jamal, definitely. Did you say who?
No, I said is he top 4?
Oh, nah, not for me.
Nah.
Jamal,
Ed Podolak, Joe Delaney. Could you go with Mike Garrett?
Right.
Could you go with
not Mike Garrett.
Harvey Williams?
I go Jamal, Priest, Joe Delaney.
Okay,
that's 3. I gotta think of another one because
Marcus Allen. I mean, that's Hall of Famer. It's tough.
Nigerian Nightmare.
Christian. There we go, Christian. There we go.
I'm good with that.
There we go. We can't, man. Look, we can't do that with LJ, man.
Not quite.
Hey, give Isaiah a few years. Pacheco might be on that list too, man. So
facts.
You see what you did, Clint? You see
Kareem Hunt on that list?
No, right. No one will have Kareem. I'm going up that note, fellas.
Well, since
Clint, you later, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Since Clint had to be kicked out of the Arrowhead draft in 2003 because they already had it reserved for a wedding, look how far we've came in 20 years.
Right.
Now the Chiefs are a dynasty. We are in dynasty mode. We're the world champions, and the world is going to be in Kansas City. Are those two cheerleaders going to be with Clint this weekend? You will have to stay tuned to Starcade Media to see if he brings them out of retirement.
I feel like I actually have a chance with him now.
History. That's a part of this history, and we will celebrate it this weekend. What do you say, Noah?
Oh, absolutely. I am so pumped for this event here in Kansas City. We had Tim Grunhard on last time we did this show, and he said it may never be back. We hope it is, but there's so many locations that they've got to hit next year. Detroit, and they're eventually going to go back to New York. I'm sure they're going to hit Vegas again, LA.
Yeah.
Nashville was big for them. They may go back
there.
Michael
wants to not have to travel just once, man.
Yeah, I'm like, let it be out here. It'll be crazy here in LA. I can't remember it ever being in LA.
Nope, it hasn't.
It's going to be Detroit.
Yeah, it hasn't. So
it hasn't been announced for 2025 yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, they had to hit Detroit before they get to LA. They had to make all the hot spots until then they'll give something to LA. So
yeah. So hopefully, but it's going to be epic. I can already, like, being in Vegas last year, you saw what it did for Las Vegas. Of course, you have more players and families out there because it's Vegas. But just, for the fans, and how perfect for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl to now host the NFL draft. It's like a dream come true.
Scripted.
For Chiefs fans, especially those living in KC.
Cloud 9.
It's going to be special, man.
Cloud 9. Magic is in the air. I am so freaking giddy. I can't stop texting Noah all throughout the day how giddy I am. He's probably thinking, dang, I wish Shaggy would quit texting me about how happy he is about life. But anyway, man, it is exciting.
Yeah.
You're right. And there is something in the air, and it is special, and it is something that we need to take really to heart, because like I said, growing up, I mean, the draft was always in New York. I think from 1968 till 2014, the draft was at Radio City Music Hall. You had your draft parties, you got around and you watched it. Eventually they had Arrowhead season ticket holder parties and things of that nature. But to think that of it actually being here and in this city, and the fact that my top 5 favorite band of all time, Motley Crue, is going to be here playing live at it. I can't even, it's like two worlds colliding. My head's going to explode. You got Fall Out Boy, the Jonas Brothers, some idiot named Thundercat. I don't even know who that is, but we're going to have, it's just a party.
80s television show, Thundercats.
Thundercat, he's pretty dope. His music is all right.
Thank goodness for you, Mike Helton.
That's why we have Michael on the show for when stuff like that comes up. We're like, who is this?
And how does Tech Nine not have is Tech Nine going to be performing anywhere?
He's at the Kelsey Jam.
Yeah, so they're they probably don't want to burn any of the Kelsey Jam performers for free at the draft. So Machine Gun Kelly, Rick Ross, Tech Nine. I think there was someone else I might be missing for the Kelsey Jam, but we thought it'd be one of them surely would perform, but obviously not. Yeah, there you go, and not going to do that for free. But
maybe Nick Wright from Fox is going to show up and do autographs and things like that.
Dude,
he's a KC guy, right?
Yeah,
you bet. We'll find Nick somewhere. We'll be all around. We'll see who walks back into that media center, Michael. We'll be ready. See, last year in Vegas was a little different because nobody came into the media room for a long time, especially on the second day. It was literally me, Noah, and Michael back in there trying to interview the draftees. And we're like, where the hell's everybody else, man? So I think this year people will probably catch on and want to come in and be a part of that. Even if no Chiefs player will be on hand to be interviewed, it still will be off the chain. And I mean, it's going to be crazy. I'm just one of those people that has parking anxiety.
According to Tara. So
what's that? Thunder? I don't agree.
You will definitely be catching up with some of the draftees tomorrow. If you could tell the viewers and myself, and as well as Michael, what are you looking for tomorrow in the player interviews?
Yeah, absolutely. Wednesday, tomorrow, 10:30 to 11. We've got 30 minutes with the players at Central High School. Question mark. Why that? Why there? I guess it might be on their football field, but yeah, I mean, we're going to be able to get kind of just mill around, walk around, and just kind of a free-for-all and be able to pull guys to the side and ask them about their college experience, what they're hearing in the draft, the visits that they've had. Have they met with the Chiefs? What are they hearing? Because if they're going in the top half, maybe the Chiefs can't get there. If they're going in the middle or they're going late, can the Chiefs move up? And just kind of what conversations have they had with Brett Veach and Andy Reid and some of the scouts that they've noticed at their games, were Chief scouts at their games? Did they know that? So that's going to be interesting, definitely tomorrow at 10:30 to 11. So, and
one of those players is going to be Zay Flowers, the receiver out of Boston College, a player that I saw in person back in 2021, Missouri at Boston College. Zay Flowers was a bright spot for them. They had a running back named Garwo that was tremendous and obviously into the NFL now, and was killed Missouri that day. Missouri lost that game in overtime. But Zay Flowers really has it all. And Michael, like you always talk about fit and what the Chiefs like at receiver. Well, Zay Flowers is exactly what that body type and that prototype of what the Chiefs like in the receivers. Brett Veach can deny it, but I think that we've seen the pattern here of the kind of player he likes. So this brings me to this, guys. And we're not trying to be a downer and like this is a huge thing, but I wanted to bring this up before the draft. We'll bring it up again after the draft, because obviously this is before the draft. The Chiefs could trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which is another story. We were able to catch up with him in Miami. Yeah. But as of today, before the draft, do the Chiefs have the worst receiving core in the AFC? Noah Groniger, start with you.
It's going to be one of the worst as it stands right now. Of course, we're going to add somebody, whether it's through the draft, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins, and that's going to immensely change things, and it will not be the worst when the season starts. I guarantee you that. But
okay.
I don't even think it's maybe the worst right now, because you've got the Texans, you've got the Titans, maybe the Patriots. They added Juju, but what else do they have? So those are just a few teams, possibly the Ravens. They've got OBJ, but a lot of their other guys, can you really trust them? So the James Proches and Devin Duvernays and so I think the Chiefs are at least top 5, top 4, top 3 worst receiving cores in the AFC as it stands right now.
Better question, Shane. Does it matter?
I don't think it matters. It's kind of like winning the World Series with all your hitters that hit 200 the entire year. Just because if you win, if your quarterback can put these wide receivers that experts don't think are very good in situations to win, then that's what you want at the end of the day. I mean, we could sit here and say, well, Sammy Watkins didn't do anything for the Chiefs because he was injured a lot, but he showed up in the playoffs for the first 3 years.
Time.
So when it comes to building dynasties, you're a dynasty because you win championships. If Patrick Mahomes goes to the Super Bowl and the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl because Justin Ross had 8 catches for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns, does that make Justin Ross a number 1 wide receiver? I don't care as long as they're holding up the Lombardi. What do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, if you look at it on paper coming into last season, had one of the worst. So I think that,
sure.
We have Travis Kelce. He is the number 1 option. And when you have a guy that special, you have Noah Gray, who has come on and showed that he can make some plays. Jody Fortson showed that he can make some plays. They're going to throw the ball to the running backs. That's why I think you even hear them mention a guy like Gibbs, who everybody believes is going to be a McCaffrey type guy because he's going to be able to run and catch the ball. I don't think it really matters. You have Patrick Mahomes, you have Andy Reid. They can make it happen with that. And, the defense is going to be better. So it doesn't matter if 15 is thrown into, like I said it before, we can go out there and run some routes. As long as we can get open enough, 15 is going to get it to us. And, that's good enough.
No, are you good with that? You were kind of a receiver guy, as am I. It's like, okay, I guess for me, if I had the choice between having a better receiving core, like a top 15 offensive line, like I'd probably rather have the better receiving core and like a little worse offensive line. I don't know. This is all semantics. The Chiefs are Super Bowl champs. This is nitpicking. That's all we can do now, guys. Is nitpick. That's all we have. We don't have any real criticism
for me. How it looks, how it plays out on the field.
You usually have that one guy. Like Juju was that one guy last year, nearly 1,000 yards to go with Kelce. Now coming into this season, even if we take a rookie like Zay Flowers, it's like, who's going to be that one guy that can win one-on-ones when we need a play? Juju was that guy. Of course, we know Travis can do it. But whenever, if we don't have that guy, people are going to start off the season like, let's just double Kelce. Let's see what these other guys are made of. And early in the season last year, that's what we kind of struggled a little bit until Juju started to emerge. That's why they even traded for Kadarius Toney. But I think a lot of it is going to be on development. Sky Moore improving and being a much better player. Kadarius Toney being a much better player and hopefully being healthy, seeing what you have in Justin Ross. And then now we know what MVS can do. So I think that, they're really counting on, let's see if guys can develop.
That's Zay Flowers. And I'd like to get your opinion on this as well, Noah, because I know you've heard about it online. The Zay Flowers thing could be a smokescreen. Yeah, because I think the Chiefs do. I think the Chiefs would like to take a chance on drafting Zay Flowers, but he's probably not going to get past 12 in a lot of the mock drafts. Do you think that the Chiefs, it was a smokescreen of a chance? What do you think, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, if he falls down, maybe you could have some teams trying to move up, trying to get ahead of the Chiefs because they think the Chiefs are going to snag him at 31, or the Chiefs have potential to move up if he starts falling down and they want to try to move up before the Chiefs do. And yeah, it's all a game. It's all smoke screens. I personally think the Chiefs are going to go maybe for another defensive end, pair him with George Karlaftis because we're really thin at that spot. They could go offensive
Miles
tackle.
Murphy. Our good friend Chris Sims has Miles Murphy from Clemson mocked here. But no, there's other good receivers in this draft. Quentin Johnston worked out for the Chiefs too from TCU. We really like Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Actually, a guy I really like that could fall into the third round is Kayshon Boutte out of LSU. So there's a lot of options here from the first down into the third round. So the Chiefs only have currently 3 picks in the first 122. It would stand to reason that one of those will probably be a receiver. We shall see. And Noah, we've talked kind of on the phone and aside from the show about the receivers and about how, last year it didn't matter. You win the Super Bowl. But guys, if you think, it makes things more difficult in that you saw a lot of games where the offense kind of bogged down a little bit. You weren't able to gain separation against teams like, the Texans, Denver twice, the Ray. I mean, there was a lot of games that were kind of sluggish against teams, and I think that was from not being able to, a lack of big plays from the receiving core. And then Travis Kelce didn't score a touchdown, I think, for the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season. So, you know, it's all semantics. As long as it all's well that ends well, you're never going to complain about if we have the number 1 defense in the league and score 7 points a game and win every game 7-3, you're not going to hear any complaining from me. But
you'll hear it from me. Don't worry. If you don't hear from Clint, you'll hear it from me. Yes, we're winning every game, but I will not like the product that I'm seeing, even though we're winning, because I'm an all offense receiver guy. I want to see him put up the points and move the ball. But we did have something else that is going to make our run harder back to a Super Bowl, and that's Aaron Rodgers joining the AFC. Look at this list of AFC quarterbacks. It is murderer's row. Unfortunately, we have the slayer of all of these guys, and that is Patrick LaVon Mahomes. Joe Burrow may be 3-1, but we just got past him on to Super Bowl 57 and for another victory over the Eagles. But man, Aaron Rodgers joining this, there's really nobody in the NFC. It's Jalen Hurts and kind of who's who. And then on the AFC side, like I said, just that is a gauntlet.
That's good for Buffalo because Buffalo was looked at as the Patriots. It was just running through those weak AFC East teams. Well, now they got to play a better Miami team, and now they have to play a better Jets team. So hopefully those
still have Bill Belichick.
Yeah, so hopefully those, and I'm not slighting I know you could say that and good, but my point is those two teams are going to be better than the Patriots, but Belichick will have a scheme. But my point is it won't be easy for Josh Allen to just go right through the AFC East like he has done the last 2 years. The Jets and the Dolphins will be a formidable foe. And yes, Belichick will scheme up some defense to try to stop down Josh Allen, but I don't see it happen with the Patriots.
I think a team and a quarterback that we really have to watch because, we know that the AFC East is going to be tough. We know that the AFC North is going to be tough. Joe Burrow, we're going to see what's going to happen with Lamar. Deshaun is going to, have his time to, get himself together. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Like, if he can really make a jump, that division is terrible.
Yeah, it's just been taking for years.
If Jacksonville can make that jump, they can have some easy wins to where they can possibly be a team that's competing, to try to get, home field. It's going to take a lot because they're going to have to really improve. I think they were 9-8 last year, so that they barely won the division. But I think that's the team that we're going to have to look out for. The Jets are going to be nice, but it's Aaron Rodgers. Is he showing up to OTAs, or is he going to still be here in Cali, kicking back by the beach, until training camp? Who knows?
If he doesn't, the Jets had absolutely nothing and were a pretty good football team all of last season, and now that they have something at quarterback position.
They had a really good defense.
Yeah.
You're going to get Breece Hall back from the ACL. You have Garrett Wilson. They got Alan Lazard. They got the Jet over there.
Don't do it. Don't mention him.
McCall Hardman.
No, you did it. You mentioned him. I told you not to. You did it.
We promised we would move on, Michael. We promised the viewers.
I had to throw his name out there for you guys. But the Jets, they have some pieces, but I just think that division is going to be so tough that I can't see any of the teams coming out of that division with like 12, 13 wins.
Right. Agree.
And guys, you see Justin Herbert on there. We were able to catch up with Justin Herbert last week in Miami at the Catch event. And, Justin Herbert pretty much told us that he was far more injured. His ribs really never recovered from that week 2 hit from, was it Mike Dana, I think?
Yes.
Had that hit. And he
just had on like a white t-shirt and like pulled it tight to his body and like it was still sticking out the cartilage.
He said he has cartilage in his rib that is still not healed properly. That's like sticking through the rib cage. That's still. And so, I mean, and Justin Herbert's a guy that, a lot of people are putting as, maybe the 3rd best quarterback in the AFC. When it comes to him, I stopped short of saying this to Justin because he's a very nice guy, but we'll see it when we believe it. Right. I mean, when it comes to the Chargers, who actually our good friend Chris Sims, who we were able to talk to at the NFL draft, or at the Super Bowl, has Zay Flowers mocked to the Chargers. So talk about an embarrassment of riches. Some receiving cores just keep getting better while ours just keeps getting worse. Again, we're not going to dwell on that, but a lot coming up, guys. One thing we got to get a little lighthearted here. We got the draft. When you're drafting 31st and you're the Super Bowl champs and you've done what the Chiefs have done, Brett Veach knows what he's doing. He's going to be able to build depth. He's going to be able to build a roster because it's going to keep turning over every 4 years. You're going to say goodbye to the One Thornhills of the world. The McCole Hardmans they're just going to keep cycling out because Brett Veach is restocking that shelf. So to get a little lighthearted, we don't have to go in depth. This doesn't have to be a deep dive into every single pick the Chiefs can make. We're going to have fun. We're going to watch it, but we got to have a little uniform talk. And I'm sad that Brian's not here for it because the Arizona Cardinals have done something. And guess what? As Damon Wayans would say, hated it.
Yeah, that is, it looks like high school jerseys.
Division II.
At first, I was looking like, what's the big difference from the other jerseys?
Right.
But it's really plain. I'm not a fan of it, but it's about winning. If they go and somehow can win with those jerseys, then they will matter. But right now, they're terrible. They look very amateur.
I was like, I hope they didn't pay anybody to design that.
Oh, this is interesting because which one is Ohio State and which one is the Arizona Cardinals? Obviously, the Ohio State's the one that's showing game action. That is unbelievable and inexplicable to me. That is a direct ripoff of the Ohio State Buckeyes alternate blacks. Obviously, the Cardinals, they've went with some sort of minimalistic kit here because a lot of teams are going the minimalist route. It's always been strange to me. They have a really good color combo when you got just red and white, red and black, like they have in the car. I mean, it's a great team name. It's a great mascot. It's a great city. I just don't understand what this is. And I don't know.
Have they ever had jerseys that were like, oh, I like those jerseys? I don't think they're one of the worst teams when it comes to uniform.
Maybe in the Conrad Dobler days and Dan Deerdorf days, Shane. Is that St. Louis Cardinals?
Yeah.
Ring any bells?
The 70s uniforms were at least classic. That was just part of their history.
I mean, I guess
we just want D-Hop. Hell with the uniforms.
Now, Brian wasn't in here to defend himself, but he liked these uniforms. He was the only person I saw that had something good to say. So I wish he was here to tell us what he liked about him, but maybe we'll grab him another time.
You have exciting news in Chiefs Kingdom, though. Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, baby. M-I-Z.
Z-O-U.
Guys,
now the backup for the Kansas City Chiefs since Chad Henne has moved on to retirement. Blaine Gabbert.
The former number one pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2011, a guy that spent 3 seasons backing up Tom Brady. This is just Chad Henne all over again, a younger guy that could come in here. He's 33, knows offenses, trustworthy. I have no problem with it all. I mean, I think that's what you're looking for. Chad Henne retires. And Blaine Gabbert, the former Missouri Tiger, who helped lead the Tigers over the number 1 Oklahoma Sooners back in 2010. Missouri's only victory ever over a number 1 team in the nation was done at the hands of Blaine Gabbert. So we love Blaine. He actually also saved people from a helicopter crash in Tampa in the offseason. You guys remember this story?
No.
A helicopter crash in the Bay. He was riding jet skis with his brother, Tyler, and they saved these people and got him out of the helicopter and to safety. He's an American hero. So welcome, Blaine Gabbert.
Well, you guys had some interaction with him when he was at MU.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you've got to know him and a great deal about him.
So
how does he compare with the other MU quarterbacks, Chase Daniel and as well as the
Drew Lock?
Yeah. How does he compare to them?
Pretty similar. I mean, look, the career Chase Daniels had being a backup. We talked to Justin Herbert about him as well and how important he is just because of how dialed in and knowledgeable he is about the playbook. He's a coach on the field, and now Drew Lock has assumed the backup role in Seattle after kind of toiling and obscurity there in Denver. So all 3 quarterbacks from Missouri are all kind of the same person right now in the NFL. They're all solid backup options, and hey, there's a career to be made there, and I think that's tremendous. So we good with Noah? We good with Blaine Gabbert being here?
Absolutely. I was a little worried about Shane Buechele, not knowing if we can really trust him in that moment. You're just kind of trusting in Andy Reid and Brett Beach, and if they're saying, hey, Shane Buechele's ready, then you just got to say, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. They've seen him, and they feel comfortable with him. But apparently they don't feel super comfortable. They want to bring in Blaine Gabbert, a guy that can still kind of teach Mahomes some things as he's sat on the bench and learned from Tom Brady. They have that connection. Gabbert's learned and soaked up all the knowledge from Tom Brady. So he can kind of also be a coach helping Patrick look at the kind of Microsoft Surface and go over some of the film and the plays and the things that he's looking at there and teaching him and giving him some pointers and, hey, Tom liked to do this versus this coverage. And that's just something to think about. And so I think that's an area that he can help where Shane Buechele may still be learning kind of the road there.
And J. Michael Smith is right. Henne and Gabbert were the quarterbacks of the Jaguars when Andy Reid's first time as a head coach. But we also got to remember Chris Collinsworth said today in his mock draft, that the Chiefs could draft a quarterback with a 31st overall pick.
We needed a graphic for that. That happened too late in the day, but my God. Chris Collinsworth, I'm a fan of his. What is going on?
It had to be a joke. It's no way that Chris
Hooker.
Maybe he was off that.
Hendon Hooker from Tennessee.
Sativa, or maybe he was off the sativa or indica. That's why he made that. He said that craziness. But no, I think Blaine is great. Competition for Shane. We can see if Shane took that step, but you always need a veteran guy there.
Shane Michelle, not Shane Williams. Your spot's safe here, Shane.
No, yeah. Your spot is safe, Shane. But yeah, it's gonna be cool, to have Blaine. We don't expect him to play. We hope he doesn't have to play. And he's a good veteran to have. Yeah,
he and Chad Henne were both actually on that Jaguars team that the Chiefs played in Andy Reid's first game. They both played in that game, both Henne and Gabbert. So that's kind of a crazy fact. Was that game, Shane? You'll know the exact score. It was something like 21-2, 24-2.
Yeah, the first game of the 2015. Yeah, I was like,
got it here. J. Michael Smith said.
Jay, you're on top of it. Yeah, that was.
Jay's the man.
That was and Blaine went to a terrible Jaguars organization, and it's weird because immediately after Blaine left, very soon after, they went to the AFC Championship game with Blake Bortles. Yeah. So weird how things work out. And then Blaine did have a good stint there a couple years, playing significant time for the San Francisco 49ers in around 2015, 2016-ish. So, we
thought he would be a Chief one day. We thought he'd be a starter after Alex Smith.
Guys, we did predict it. We thought he would take over for Alex Smith after he retired, and then Blaine Gabbert would be the next former 49er journeyman quarterback to play in Kansas City. And luckily...
Thank God he didn't.
Yeah, right? Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we've done a little better.
Andy Reid drafted Kevin Kolb, a quarterback, in the second round of the 2007 draft after Donovan McNabb had been in the NFL for 8-9 years. I do not see the Chiefs drafting a quarterback in the first round or second round this Thursday. So if Chris Collinsworth can get the best
at all,
sixth or seventh,
neither round.
It's safe to say we're not going to quarterback. Okay, are we going to do a quick prediction what position we're going to draft?
Yeah, I was going to say let's go around and get everybody's at least just position that you personally want, that you think it should be. Noah, start with you.
First round, go ahead. Me, okay, I'll go. No. Oh, Noah first. Okay, go Noah.
Whatever.
I'm going to go defensive end. I just think we need an edge to kind of pair with Karlaftis there. I could see him going tackle, but I think we really need someone to pair. If Frank Clark's not going to come back, if we're not going to go out and get a Melvin Ingram, Carlos Dunlap, aging veteran, and do you really want that guy to be counted on? I know we've still got Mike Dana. I think they're going to try and pair somebody with Karlaftis to try and get those edges settled for years to come.
I agree 100%. It'll be edge rusher or offensive tackle with a 31st overall pick. I don't see us trading up. If the Chiefs do trade up to 20, it'll be because Zay Flowers slipped. I don't see us trading up to like 12 to get Zay Flowers. I'm going to stick edge rusher and offensive tackle. I don't know how much trust they have in Darian Kennard or Niang. They both could better. They both could be future offensive tackles, but like I said to Tim Grunhard here with you guys last week, Victor Riley was drafted in the number 1 draft pick to eventually be a left tackle in 1998. Well, the 1999 draft, we're all thinking, well, we got our left tackle in Victor Riley. He's going into his second season. He was right tackle last year. He's going to be left tackle. What did the Chiefs do? They drafted a left tackle in John Tate and kept the Victor Riley at right. So people could say, oh, well, Niang. I remember. I was like, what are we doing? Why are we drafting another tackle? And they're like, well, technically, the experts say John Tate is a better left tackle to play left tackle, and it's better to keep Victor Riley at right tackle. That's why I will not rule out offensive tackle at pick 31. What do you say, Michael?
Man, Veach always does something very surprising.
You're right.
So last year, no one expected him to trade up to McDuffie and, take that guy. So I hate to say this, guys, but we have no Jerick McKinnon, and the guy that you hear about is Gibbs with his speed, what he can bring to the offense in the passing game and running the ball to go with the power of Pacheco, that the Chiefs may say, hey, maybe we can get a receiver later in the draft, or maybe even use a third in Clyde Edwards-Helaire to go get DeAndre Hopkins. This guy can be our new Jamal Charles. And why not try to get this guy to give, something that they thought they were going to get with Clyde, but have Gibbs, a guy who ran like a 4.3, to take the offense to another level. So I wouldn't be surprised if a move like that, if he's still hovering around and the Chiefs trade up in the 20s. But if they stay pat at 31, I think they'll go DN or tackle.
It's interesting about Gibbs is that, like, a first-round running back, is he really going to be happy coming in, either splitting time or being the backup to Isaiah Pacheco? If he is the starter, what does that do to Pacheco's confidence? Because he gained the starting role last year. It's just an interesting dynamic of how they play that if they do draft.
He would be the third down back. They're going to be like, you're going to be the guy on the field. They can show him tape of McKinnon and say, this is who we want you to be, you know, and this is how we're going to play you. This is our workhorse, Pacheco here. You're going to get your touches because he's a guy maybe you give the ball to, 10, 12 times and his impact. You remember a young JC when we had Jamal Charles, and it's like every time he touched the ball, it was magical. And I think Gibbs is that guy. But Zay Flowers is somebody as well. But I think if they trade up, it's going to be something that make people like, wow, I can't believe the Chiefs did that. But if they stay pat, they're like, we're just going to go DN, tackle, go with the best available player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the running back position, even though that seems to be, I don't know, something very outside the realm of possibilities. Although my guy's Bijan Robinson there, I think he's by far and away the best running back in this draft, but he's going to be gone. He's our good friend Phil Sims has him mocked to the Philadelphia Eagles. What a fit that would be. How nice would that be? The Philadelphia Eagles have 2 first-round picks and 1 in the top 10. That's great for them. For us, this offensive tackle thing, is it, back in the day when Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, heard about a piece of creative that he didn't like, he would kind of stroke his beard and he'd say, yeah, that doesn't work for me, brother. Offensive tackle doesn't work for me, brother. For one, you're not going to be able to get a Peter Skoronski from Northwestern, the best tackle in the draft. Paris Johnson, no, sorry. You're going to be getting Anton Harrison from Oklahoma. You are going to be getting like a DeJuan Jones from Ohio State. That's great. But guys, we've spent the last few years drafting Lucas Niang in the 3rd round. How about Darian Kennard in the 5th round? Like, these are guys that I'm sorry, I can't help you. You're going to have to get one of them ready to play football. It's on you. Go ahead. I can't take a 1st-round flyer on this. Let's go. Yeah. I think the obvious choice is edge rusher. I like a lot of receivers in this draft, and I really like Quentin Johnston at TCU. I think Zay Flowers, if we're just talking about staying pat and not trading up, which, Michael, you bring up a good point, because Veach's history is that he likes to do that. The man loved to trade up to get Breland Speaks. He loved to trade up and get Trip McDuffie. He loved to trade up and get McCole Hardman, but we'll see what he does. I guess I'm just going to go with edge rusher. That's the obvious choice. And then, guys, hopefully I don't have to hear that word for another few years, because we did it last year with Karlaftis. We do it this year. I'm going to say Miles Murphy out of Clemson's probably who we're going to take. Maybe Will McDonald out of Iowa State. Then I don't have to hear edge rusher from every single couch Chiefs fan. Edge rusher or line, defensive line or offensive line. It's one of these days,
Chiefs fans are going to say receiver.
Exactly. They don't do it now, and I don't understand it for my godforsaken life.
But Clint, weren't you saying the same thing as me in 1998, 1999 when they drafted offensive tackles back to back?
Well, that's what the Chiefs did back then, Shane. The Chiefs spent 30 years drafting nothing but offensive linemen because a bunch of youth football coaches around here told every kid in the city that you've got the game's won in the trenches, guys. If you don't have a line, you don't have anything. We didn't develop a young quarterback like Frank Boal said. Now, offensive lines are just, the importance is diminished a little bit. You don't give like giant, massive contracts to left tackles like we did back then. To be fair, the game's changed. You don't have quarterbacks going with 7-step drops and getting killed like Joe Theismann, out there. So yeah, it's changed. But no, I'm with you. I was at both of those draft parties, and it's like Victor Riley, John Tate, here we go. And then we did it all over again in later years with Eric Fisher, and it just never ended. Now,
John Asamoah.
Remember John, huh?
But this regime, guys, has done a great job of drafting later in the rounds. Creed Humphreys, they've done a good job of it, and I want to see that continue. Now, Niang and Kennard, we haven't seen anything out of yet, but now would be a wonderful time that the Chiefs need a right tackle for one of them to be ready to play right tackle.
Let's hope.
I would love it. And something else I would love, and someone else in the comments mentioned earlier about the shirts. Mention the shirts because Clint's wearing his and it's looking good. Where do I get my Arrowhead Allies shirt was mentioned in the comments earlier. And here we go. Men's, women's, kids, and hoodie sizes and styles available, all different things. You can get a sticker, you can get wall art, you can get a pillow, whatever you want. We have it on Starcade Media's Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type in Starcade Media. We'll pop right up and click shop now, and you can shop our store. We have more than just Arrowhead Allies gear. So make sure you click that shop now button on Starcade Media's Facebook page.
That was well done. That was a great pitch, and I'm glad someone mentioned that. I know somebody wants the shirt. If you could get a shirt with the Money Badger and Shaggy Shane's face on it, why would you not?
Of course.
And Trey Smith, great point, J. Michael Smith. You're right. Yes. Yeah. Trey Smith. But then, you give the big contract to Joe Tooney. And so the Chiefs have invested, obviously, in this offensive line over the last few years. And Jawan Taylor, I'm excited about. I think that's great. I think what they did with Jawan Taylor, that's wonderful. They did a great job in this offseason to pick up that left tackle. It wasn't working out with Orlando Brown Jr. for whatever reason. That's fine. Go get a guy. You went and got a guy who's got experience. He hasn't missed a game. He's been with the Jaguars for 4 years. Great. And we're going to have a blast this weekend, guys. This is celebrating Kansas City. Michael, you're going to be joining us. You're ready for Fall Out Boy and Motley Crue more than anybody. You are ready to do this thing, man.
Let's do it, baby. I can't wait. Y'all have to take me to, the best barbecue spot. I got to see what the barbecue is all about. Going to enjoy it because it is a continued celebration of the best team in football, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's time to get turned up. We need the sativa, the indica. We need all of that thing.
We need a sponsor, though.
We need Frank Boal.
We need a sponsor. So we're going to be reaching out. All right, hit us up. We're going to be out there taking over Kansas City, baby.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I want to make sure that you guys hit up and interact with everybody around. Obviously, our organization, Starcade Media, kind of the overarching umbrella to which everything Noah and I does. Way out there, the Good News Network, Matthew, the Money Badger, he is the best. He's great. We met him last year at the draft, and he's become a great friend of ours, and I'm so glad. And Shaggy Shane Entertainment, he did a great video, pre-draft video the other day. Make sure you check it out. And there was going to be some stuff popping up on his YouTube channel, guys, that's going to be
collaboration with
Starcade. In collaboration, exactly.
Just like I said, if you want to see player interviews from Noah and Clint tomorrow with these guys that are coming to Kansas City between 10:30 and 11, check out Shaggy Shane Entertainment in collaboration with Stargate on YouTube for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we got you covered. This is the place you want to be. If you want the real interviews, you want the real guys who go to work, Noah and Clint, they go to Radio Road or they go to the Combine. They go to talk to these kids. They're going to be at the draft with Michael Matthew. Stick it with Shaggy Shane Entertainment and Starcade. This is only the beginning.
Hey, I can't wait. Chiefs Kingdom Twitter. Make sure you guys reach out, hit us up. I'm going to be out there. Make sure you hit me up. I'm going to be with my guy, Mark Gunnels. We're going to be having a good time, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, Shane, you're right. You said it. We've spent more money and spilt liquor from across this country, one side to the other, than most people make in a year. And that's what we do here. Now, usually we try to really cheap out on the road, actually. Just ask Noah about our rental car situation last week in Miami.
And thank you for your Marriott deals. So.
And Michael, we got you. We're going to take you to the best $7.99 Chinese buffet we have here in Kansas City. Get ready. Turn it up, guys. Arrowhead Allies. Thank you so much.
Go Chiefs!